You know, when we talk about AI and sustainability, our minds usually jump to the big players, right? The massive corporations. But what about the small and medium-sized businesses? The ones that really are the engine of our economies? Well, today we're going to dig into some really fascinating new research that explores the link between generative AI and sustainability, right where it might just matter the most.
All right, here's how we're going to break it all down. We'll start with the big question that kicked off the whole study. Then, we'll look at how they actually did the research. After that, we'll dive into the evidence, hear some of the stories behind the data, and wrap up with a really crucial next step for all of this.
So, first things first, let's set the stage a bit. It's really important to understand who we're talking about and what we actually mean by sustainability in this context. This right here is the heart of the research problem. I mean, we get headlines all the time about AI and giant companies, but its role in the millions of smaller businesses, that's a huge question mark. So the real goal here was to figure out, can this powerful new technology actually help these businesses make a real positive difference in the world?
And why does this matter so much? Because these smaller businesses, or SMEs, they're literally everywhere. They're a massive source of jobs and economic growth. So think about it. If a tool like AI can help them become more sustainable, the ripple effect, the collective impact, could be absolutely enormous. You can see why this is so important for policymakers to understand.
Now, this is what I find really cool. This slide gives us the lens for the whole investigation. The researchers aren't just looking at dollars and cents. Nope, they're using what's called the triple bottom line. That means they're measuring success across 3 key areas: people, the planet, and profit. The whole shebang.
So, how do they actually go about studying this? Let's pull back the curtain on the methods, because this is what really gives the findings their weight.
They used this really smart 2-step approach to get the full story. First, they went wide. They used a big survey to spot the broad, statistical patterns. But then, they went deep, with one-on-one interviews to really understand the why behind those numbers. And when I say they went wide, I mean it. We're not talking about a handful of people here. They got data from 366 real business owners across the Caribbean. That gives them a really solid foundation to stand on.
And then, to add all that rich context, they sat down for deep dive interviews with 26 of those owners. This is where they found the real-world stories that explain the trends they saw in all that survey data. Okay, so they collected all this data. The big question is, what did it actually show? Let's get into the main finding from that big survey. Okay, so this is the headline, and you've got to appreciate how thorough they were. They checked for everything else you could think of: the owner's age, their education, the size of their business, where it was located. I mean, everything. And after accounting for all of that, one thing stood out, loud and clear. Using generative AI was the single biggest predictor of whether an owner felt their business was doing good in the world. And this slide just lays it out in black and white, doesn't it? There's a crystal clear, statistically significant divide here. Business owners who use generative AI are just way more likely to believe their companies are having a positive impact on both people and the planet. It's a night and day difference.
But here's where it gets really nuanced. It's not as simple as the more AI you use, the better. The data shows the biggest jump in that positive feeling happens right at the very beginning, when a business goes from using zero AI to just some. After that, the effect starts to level off. It's like that initial adoption is the real aha moment where the light bulb goes on. All right, so the numbers tell us what's happening. But the interviews tell us why. Let's get into some of the incredible real-world stories that bring all these stats to life.
Just listen to this. This is a perfect example of that triple bottom line in action. This business owner used AI to cut way down on expensive marketing costs. That saving, that economic benefit, freed up extra cash that went straight back into a social program for kids in the community. It's a direct line from AI to profit to people. Amazing.
And what about the social impact? Look at this. AI wasn't replacing people, it was acting like a helper, taking some of the stress off their plates and making them feel more confident and proud of their work. That's a huge boost to well-being, which makes for a much more socially sustainable workplace.
And here's the environmental piece of the puzzle. For this business owner, AI became a research assistant. It helped them find more eco-friendly materials, empowering them to make better choices for the planet without hurting their bottom line. It's about being smarter, not just greener.
So, okay, we have strong numbers, we have these powerful personal stories. It all sounds great, right? But there's one more really critical step we need to talk about to make this truly game-changing.
And we have to be really honest about this, just as the researchers were. This study is measuring how business owners feel about AI's impact. It's about their perception. And that's a super important first step, but it is subjective. You know, we all kind of want to believe we're doing good things. That's just human nature.
So to bridge that exact gap, to go from what people feel to what we can actually prove, the researchers came up with something new. It's a tool designed to connect those subjective feelings to cold, hard data. They call it the Contextualized Impact Verification Framework, or CIVF for short.
Think of this framework as a playbook for future research. It's a roadmap that says, okay, you heard the story about cost savings? Here's how you can verify it with financial records. It's all about proving that these perceived benefits actually show up as real, measurable results. It even suggests new ways to track things like employee well-being.
And this table just makes it all so clear. It shows exactly how this would work. It takes a feeling, like I have more money for charity, and turns it into a hard number you can track, like the percentage of savings that actually went to those causes. It turns my employees seem happier into measurable data like absenteeism rates. It moves from story to science.
And really, this is the question that leaves us with. This study has shown, pretty powerfully, that business owners believe AI can be a force for good. The potential, the enthusiasm, it's all there. The challenge now, for everyone, from researchers to business owners, is to take that next step and build the solid, objective proof to back it all up.